You locked the door. You know you locked it. You watched your own hand do it. You heard the bolt slide, and you are already halfway down the stairs when something in you turns around. Not a thought, not a decision, something quieter than that. A small pull, low in the chest, that says, "Go back and look." So you go back, and you look. And the door is locked, exactly the way you left it 11 seconds ago. And you feel a little stupid. You do this with other things too. You knock on wood. You don't say the bad thing out loud in case saying it makes it real. You wear the same shirt to the interview. You take the same route on the day of the match. You don't step on the crack, and you are 34 years old. You don't believe in any of it. You do it anyway. There is an object in a museum, a lump of baked clay, about the size of your palm, shaped like a liver, covered in small drilled holes and tiny carved marks. It is roughly 4,000 years old, and it is the same thing your hand was doing on that door handle. I'll come back to that. First, take the door away. Take the bolt. Take the frame. Take the wall the frame is set into, and the roof above it, and the street lamp outside that turns the dark into something manageable. Take the phone in your pocket that can summon a stranger with a badge. Take the aspirin. Take the hospital. Take the quiet assumption that a bad night ends in the morning with everything still intact. Now you are lying on the ground. There is a fire, and the fire is small. Around it, the people you love, asleep, breathing. Beyond the fire, 60 feet of grass you cannot see into, and something in that grass that can smell all of you at once. And then a sound, just once, probably wind. Do you check? You check. Everyone who is your ancestor check. That is not a personality trait. That is a filter. And it ran for 300,000 years, and everyone who couldn't be bothered is not in your family tree. In 1948, at Indiana University, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner put 8 pigeons in 8 separate boxes and did almost nothing to them. Food arrived every 15 seconds. That was the whole experiment. The food had nothing to do with the bird. Nothing the pigeon did could speed it up, slow it down, or stop it. 6 of the 8 pigeons invented a ritual. One turned counterclockwise, twice, before every delivery. One pushed its head into a corner of the cage. One swung its head back and forth like a pendulum. Each of them had been doing something, anything, in the moment the food appeared, and their brains did what brains do. They drew a line between the two. Skinner called it superstition, and the word stuck. Later researchers argued about it. In 1971, Staddon and Simmelhag suggested a lot of that behavior was simply what a hungry bird does while it waits. Fine. The argument is about the pigeons. It was never about you, because you already know the feeling, and it doesn't take a cage. Here is the arithmetic your body is running, and it has never once shown you the working. The cost of checking the door twice, 11 seconds, and a small flicker of embarrassment. The cost of not checking, on the one night in 10,000 when it matters, everything. 11 seconds against everything. Run that calculation 100,000 times, across 100,000 generations, and the only creatures left standing are the ones who go back and look. You are not descended from the calm one. You are descended from the ones who could not let it go. In 2006, 2 researchers, Pascal Boyer and Pierre Léonard, published a paper asking a very simple question. Why do human rituals everywhere look the same? Because they do. Go anywhere, any century, any continent, any god. The rituals converge on an absurdly narrow set of themes. Washing, order and symmetry, doing a thing a fixed number of times. Boundaries. This ground is clean, that ground is not. Do not carry one into the other. Contamination, order, repetition, thresholds. That is not a list of religions. That is a list of the 4 things that could kill a small animal living in a large landscape. Bad food, disorder, a step missed, a line crossed. Their argument is that ritual is not a belief system that got out of hand. It is a hazard-precaution system, a piece of mental equipment built to detect risk, running with the volume up and no off switch. And here is the part that should sit badly with you. The system does not require you to believe anything. You knock on wood knowing perfectly well that the wood is not listening. The ritual is not an argument you lost. It is older than argument, which brings us back to the clay. 4,000 years ago, in the cities between the two rivers, in Babylon and Mari and Nineveh, an entire civilization was doing what you did on the stairs, and they wrote it down. They wrote all of it down. If a fox runs into the city, that city will be destroyed. If the door of a house groans, the owner will fall ill. There were thousands of these, cataloged into series with formal names, copied and recopied by scribes for centuries. And when a king needed to know whether to march, a priest opened a sheep and read its liver, the shape of the lobes, the marks, the small deformations. The clay model in the museum is the study aid, a liver in baked clay, drilled with holes, so that a student could learn to read the future in an organ. And then there is the part almost nobody mentions. They had a ritual specifically for canceling a bad omen. The Akkadian word is namburbai. It means, roughly, it's undoing. They saw the sign. They believed the sign. And then they performed a procedure designed to make the sign not count. That is knocking on wood, written in cuneiform, by an empire. 4,000 years before you did it in a kitchen, without noticing, you had done it. So, the door. You are not checking because you are anxious or weak or because something inside you is quietly failing. You are checking because a very old and very expensive piece of equipment is doing the one job it was built to do and doing it well in a world where the thing it was calibrated for no longer arrives. One thing said plainly, for some people this stops being a flicker and becomes a cage. Hours lost. The same check, 40 times. Real suffering. That is a different thing. It has a name, and it responds to treatment. And none of this is about that. But for the rest of it, the wood, the shirt, the second look at the handle, stop apologizing to yourself. Your ancestors sat in the dark and heard a sound and got up to check over and over for 3,000 centuries, and they were wrong almost every single time. Almost every time, it was the wind. That is exactly why you exist. You are the descendant of the ones who were wrong 1,000 times and right once. The lock is steel now. The grass is a parking lot. The predator is an unread email. But the hand still goes back to the handle. And the hand is not confused. The hand is remembering. You're still human.